Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, effects, tutorials, demos, and review. This is the Ambient Effects Afternoons edition. So, we're kind of doing a little synth thing here. I'm doing some programming today I have a shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, got church. So pretty much the next 4 days I'll be gigging, and I'll be live doing it as well, so check that out. But one of the things I'm doing right now is kind of programming some patches, trying to see what I want to pair with what. Might make that reverb a little quicker. So, one of the beautiful things about the Enzo X is the versatility of the synths, especially when you're pairing it with different things like the Mercury X. Definitely helps me out. And of course, I already have all my other sounds already programmed for my bass stuff. But, I decided to add the patches for when I'm want to play keys, have those additional pads and stuff from the Enzo X. Sometimes I decide to take a MIDI controller, sometimes I don't. One of the beautiful things about the Enzo X is those same sounds I can use on my bass. So I don't have to always carry a MIDI controller. I can just decide to play that sound with my bass. Now, still I might even want to go to the room. I think the 78 room is going to be like my studio. That feedback from the pre-delay. I think we can rock with that. So, gotta go over here. Let me put that in. goes here. Actually, so the cool thing about having the MIDI controller in here saves me during my live performances a lot of work. Things I may want to get to, I can instantly get to and get in and out. Put this on, I think it was 95. So just PC message, channel 5. Bam. I'll put it on 96. 5. So now I can go from to so you just got all your sounds just right there available to you, which is very convenient for a lot of things. So make sure, you know, even after you put your presets together, the next layer is to put that into combined presets, you know, into throughout the pedal board. So for this, so that's actually, I'm actually doing that with the Mercury X expression pedal, which I have assigned already, but I'm going to put this program, this setting in here real quick, and I'll demonstrate. See, the MIDI Captain has different pages, so while you only see 10 switches here, it's really, you know, 10 times 16, so it's like 160 switches. Plus you got like 6 parameters for the press and another 6 for the release of a button. So you can literally have 12 different parameters per button, you know. We need this on 96. love the freeze option on the Mercury X. That's killing. Yeah, it's tricky trying to get these all volume. Seems a bit loud. Yeah, so it's like, you know, when you mixing the, it's one thing when you making these presets separately, you know, to just, it's one thing to have the, and just some reverb on it, right? But it's another thing when you throw the Mercury X on it. Just ridiculous. I love the filter. So, you know, like I said again, it's just about making this easy for me to get to things during the show. Yeah, I like that one. Let it work together. Say that. So, just put this in here. And this is 85. And this is literally what you got to do for every preset pretty much that you want to do. But it's a little cumbersome getting going. What's going on, folks? Appreciate you chiming in. Let me know if y'all got any questions on this stuff or anything like that as well. Need a little bit more volume on this shit. Yeah, we'll get it from there. So, you know, it's nice to have that stuff just readily available to you. I think I'll keep it where it is, just so it doesn't get overpowering. And I still have like my page 6 is like my, I guess this is, other than my preset pages, this is like my next most important page here. This is all my expressions. Including sustain for the motif as well. And it also allows me to control what I have on the expression pedal for the Enzo X. So I did assign some parameters to the Enzo X expression pedal so I can get like a sustain pedal going versus right. So basically when I press this one on page 6, not only does it do that, it also sustain for the keyboard. So gives me a few options without having to, well, it actually triggers a few different things. The hold modifier on the Mercury X as well. So if I have that on a patch where it's actually this one has the freeze. So now it'll give that, it'll basically control the expression pedal for the Enzo X, hold modifier for the Mercury X, and the sustain pedal for the Yamaha motif, which is across the room. So. And the hold modifier on the Mercury X right now is set to freeze. So you get that freeze in there. So you got lots and lots of options. Appreciate y'all chiming in. So yeah, so you just have a lot of options just by adding something like a MIDI captain. Also have a CME H4 MIDI Pro, which is literally squished between the rails of this is a Terra Nova 42, a pedal board, is the name of the pedal board, Terra Nova 42. And it's the size of a 61 key keyboard, as you can see, a little bit bigger. This is a MIDI controller, so it's a little smaller than your average 61 key. So, but nonetheless, roughly about the same size. And thanks to the Canvas Power 15, all of this is powered by one plug and one power supply. So all of these pedals are powered the MIDI device underneath is powered, and this MIDI controller here, this is a M Audio Axiom 61, is also powered all by that power supply. So I don't have to do anything but come plug this in. And, well, you know, if I was to take this apart, well, when I gig with it, let's put it like that. When I gig with this, I don't have to take any of my expression pedals because I have all of that programmed here. So I also have the expression pedal by itself programmed here. I have, matter of fact, I need to put that modifier. Well, no, I don't really use the Mercury X modifier by itself a lot of times. A lot of times I'm using it with other things. But if I want it, matter of fact, I'm just going to put it here as well because I got the space. Since I don't have a channel 4 right now, put this on 118, channel 3. Actually, that needs to be channel 5. I think we got it on toggle. Actually, let's put it on. So we'll have to make 2 parameters here. One to be, they'll both be CC message 118 to control the expression, the hold modifiers on the Meris Series X pedals. So when I press it, I want it to come on, and I want it to toggle. And then I'm going to do a separate command for when it releases. It'll pretty much let the button go, you know. It'll turn the whole modifier off, just like if you were holding it on the actual pedal in the momentary. So now, bam, that's programmed. So now if I just want to sustain that, it's not an issue. I actually want to change where that freeze is located. Yeah, I like that much more. Yeah, that's much better. And it's just sustain that. I love the filters in here. The filters in these joints and these Meris pedals is crazy. Like I said, they took all the filter pedals off my board. They took all the ambient, like the HX1 I was using for reverb, Zoom MS-60 CDR. Took off the TC Electronic Plethora X1. You know, took off the MXR layers, the MXR bass envelope filter, the Electro-Harmonics blurs, the Electro-Harmonics bass balls. I'm even able to get a nice bass ball sound out of it. So I can even get like a baseball sound out of that, out of the Mercury X. I can also get one out of the Enzo X, because the Enzo X, while the Mercury X doesn't actually have a twin filter, it has a way you can do it with the Vowel mod, you know. But then you got the Enzo X, which can do it. Where I put that? There. Let me pull up. Even the future impact I have over here, so I can scroll up and down. You know, without it, with it, so, you know, I get that. To be honest, you know, I'd rather have that than the actual bass balls, you know, because I can, with that filter, I can choose to have it as an envelope filter, a LFO, or I can choose to have it as a wah-wah. Like I can literally use that same effect with the expression pedal. So there's various ways I could easily manipulate, you know, that sound compared to other things. It may be matter of fact, and then you throw on like the Negus preamp I made on here. So you instantly get that nice. So just some nasty filter sounds on this joint. Like even envelope filter, you know, I've gotten so many compliments on this envelope filter every time I turn it on. Like people, they literally, a lot of musicians have used envelope filters, but every time, like the same musicians that use effects, they're like, "What is that? What? No, that's an envelope filter." It's without it. So it's just the oscillators I'm using on here, and I'm using the filters from the Enzo X. So, you know, gives you a lot of flexibility with even other units, you know what I'm saying? Like if I want to add a phaser to anything, you know, it's not nothing difficult. I think it's, what is it, 40? I think it was 34. Let's do Enzo X. So it instantly like lights up whatever sound you run through these modulations and these pedals too. So, you know, my whole rig, pretty much everything else, you know, I have, you know, these are pretty much my multi-effects units at this point. So like the majority of my modulation sounds and filter sounds are coming from, and even if I'm using saturation or overdrive, you know what I'm saying, that's generally coming from the Enzo X, like on my dry bass sound as well. You know what I'm saying? Like especially on my dry bass sounds, or even if I'm using pads and different things like that from the Hog 2 or the Ravis Sitar or any of these Upkey 9 Mel 9, I use these modulations in this exact configuration. I don't even have to change them. I have them set one way, and I pretty much can use that for any of my chorus needs, flanger or phaser needs. If I need to speed it up, the LFO or something like that, or, you know, decrease the depth, you know what I'm saying, I can do that as well. That's nothing difficult. But it just gives me like a nice, it just adds to whatever sound. You think the sound is finished when you're listening to it by itself. Right, sounds great. And you turn that joint on. And mind you, the Mercury X is just up here completing all my chain, like with the Negus preamp setting, preset I have set up here. It gives me my limiter. I use the compressor link, and you know, and then I use the preamp and the high pass, and it just adds so much clarity to my. As well as give me just a little slight little extra volume on there, but nothing too crazy. But just adds so much clarity. Like you can hear so much more of that than there. Like here almost sounds like now, like mind you, this I'm not EQing anything on the Mercury X. It doesn't have that type of EQ. It has a single band EQ, but nothing crazy, like a 16 band or nothing like that. It's just really it's just a filter. You know, EQ is really just a filter. So, but I use just a high pass filter, and I actually, you know, use that, the preamp section and the compressor link, and it just adds so much clarity. And that's actually the reverb algorithm, the Prism algorithm in the Enzo X right there. Along with the noise generator. Without it, with it. So lots and lots of options with these type of pedals. So you really just kind of got to make some decisions here. Like I said before in previous videos, I have pages 1 through 5 set up for each individual pedal to presets I would like to get to, you know, and that gives me 8 presets, like immediate access to 8 presets per device. So the Hog 2, Future Impact V4 VIP, Enzo X, and Mercury X. While I also have access to on page 6 the whole modifier switches, the freeze glyphs on the Hog 2, and what else? I got the expression pedals from the Enzo X and the Mercury X as well, and the expression pedal for the Hog 2 is on there as well. So, you know, I try to make it so I don't have to tap dance. If I'm doing any tap dancing, it'll be in this immediate area. You know what I'm saying? So I could stay pretty much bow, 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 and not have to do too much dancing all up here. You know what I'm saying? If I need to get to these, you know, ain't nothing but tapping it once, you know. The real crazy part is my pedal board is normally quiet anyway. But that Canvas 15, Power 15, is so quiet. Like, that is so quiet. Like, there is no extra noise in there. And I have all 15 pedals. I have the looper, have all, this is my 3 effects loops, you know what I'm saying? First effects loops is the Empress compressor. Second one is the Future Impact bass synth and Hog 2. Third one is the Deep Freeze Key 9, Mel 9, Ravis Sitar V256. And back here, so all those pedals are in right now, plus the Enzo X, the 2 ToneX pedals, the Mercury X, and the Jam Man Solo. And it's running at line level from the Canvas stereo line isolator. And that's insane. It's not even a click anymore. It used to sometimes be a click with certain pedals. Like, that is so stable. That's crazy good. That's ridiculous. You know, I definitely recommend, even though I recommend it so far, you know, the Canvas Power 15. This is turning out to be a really great power supply. Like, I caught it on sale for $215, so I caught a real steal on it. But man, I wasn't expecting it to upstage things like that. Like, it's really, really good. And not only is it really, really good, it has, you know, I think the reason why it runs really cool is because it has that separate 24-volt power brick. So it's like the 15 output part. And then there's another adapter part that's separate that the power comes into and does. I think that's holding most of the heat. Well, nothing's holding any heat. I had this thing on for hours. I've literally had it on for hours, and neither part of it is warm, not even warm. And granted, with all these pedals running, it's still only using 20%, which is crazy. 20% of the entire power it really could put out. It actually puts out 7,500 milliamps, which is insane. Insane amount of milliamps. But you can also daisy chain these things as well. So I can hook up another Canvas Power 15 or Canvas Power 22 because they got a bigger one that has 22 outputs. And, you know, I thought that was a bit excessive for what I'm doing here. And, you know, that 15 still fits under a medium-sized board as well. And it came with really good mounts. Like, I mounted it. This is the first time I ever, like, screwed in mounts. I usually typically don't do that, but they worked out well this time. It's running, it's rock solid. It fit right in between the rails, just like the CME H4 MIDI Pro did. So the back of my board is really nice. You know what I'm saying? It looks really nice. And I was able to do some reasonable cable management underneath without having too much. The cables, the power cables that it came with, the Canvas Power 15, are really compact and slim and are really low profile compared to the ones that came with the True Tone CS12s I have. And it might not even be half of the weight of one CS12. And it used to take me 2 CS12s to power this whole board. So, you know, that's something else to consider. You know, I can't really recommend anything over that right now. Super quiet. And that, like I said, that's with all the effects loops on. All of them. That means every pedal you see up here that's in the audio chain is on. And it's still able to run that quiet. It's quieter than the daggone color box. See? You know, it's not really the color box. It's more so the room. And I have it compressed a lot. But so let's see what we could do to program a few. I would also recommend, if you have a MIDI captain, please get some rechargeable batteries, throw them in there, and then run it with the batteries and an additional power supply, either USB or 9 volt. I think it said 9 to 12, but I would stick with 9 volt. You can run this by itself with one, but it be glitching when you be saving stuff. Say you press it like this, somehow these little power inputs here, I don't know, it glitch out. But with it's a lot more stable with the rechargeable batteries in there. And when you don't want to use it on this board, I can just pull it off and unplug it, and I don't have to run power. I just need MIDI. And if I get the wireless MIDI setup going, I don't even need a MIDI. It just be wireless. Just take it off, bam, go. So. Yeah. So I can pretty much have those 4 right there. Let me see. I want this to be I want this to go to the cosmic setting. In fact, let me just do it this way. And the other cool thing about having presets like this set up, you don't have to memorize where everything is. Only thing I would want them to add to the Enzo X or the Mercury X that I could think of would be the ability to scroll up and down with the presets with a MIDI controller. I've been trying to find, let me look one more time while I'm online here. I want, I need a CC message for preset up, and then a CC message for page down. Preset down, preset change down, whatever. And I haven't been able to find it. And if you guys know how to do it, feel free to help me out. Yeah, because I can do the presets changes. Of course, but like if I want to set it to a certain preset, I can directly do that. But I can't. I want to be able to go like, just like I was scrolling through here. I want to be able to do that there as well. So. I'll answer that question in a little bit. But love it. Let's say 50. So we're going to put that on 50. So MIDI channel 5, PC message 50. I think I'll also put the hold modifier for the Enzo X on here and on a press and release function. So need 118 and then value of 127. When I press it, come down, make another one, channel 3, which the Enzo X is on. CC message 118, which is the whole modifier switch, and 0. And then save. Let's see if that works out well. Let's try and switch them. Should go on and then off. Oh, so when I'm telling it to go to the thing, it's already off, so maybe I can toggle on and off from the release and just set that to nothing. So maybe on the release, yeah, that's not working out well. I probably could sit here and figure it out, but I'm not willing to. I'll just go to my modifier page. So okay, cool. So far we have cool. Cool. Trying to think. Yeah, I'll probably just take my motif tomorrow, and then that way I won't have to. Cause I mean, I want an EP sound in there, and I just. Let's see what we're gonna pair with this. I think I might do stars with this one. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. I'll put that on. Oh, about to mess something up. 46. Yeah, it definitely takes some time to set up MIDI and get everything, you know, how you would like it. It takes some experimentation, takes some patience. But if you can do that stuff, you'll be fine. Beautiful. I actually like those two together. Okay. Okay. Put that on 50. Bam. Yeah, like I said, it just takes some patience. That's all. You gotta try some combinations of things. Like I said, a lot of times when I'm making patches, I'm not just making them for bass sounds. I'm making them for, because as you can see, even without these two pedals here, and even without the synth pedals, you know, I still use octave sounds and pads. I create pads with the key 9, the mel 9, vocoder pads, sitar pads, pads with the deep freeze. So, you know, I need things that work for more than just bass sounds. I create the entire tracks with my bass. So I need more than just a boom, doom, doom, doom type sound. You know what I'm saying? I got to have various, you know, things ready to go, especially if I want to be able to pull them out in the performance. I'll be wanting to put this cosmic preset on everything. I made that during one of the live streams, and sometimes you just, you know, you playing around with enough stuff and you figure out, you know, once you know what you're doing, you playing around with stuff is different than somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, just playing around with stuff. You're more likely to come up with some really good stuff. Yeah, I like that too much not to use it. So here I'm going to put that setting here as well. Hit that like button for me and subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me. All that good stuff. Trying to get you guys a better view on stuff as well. So. Oh, that's a fire preset. What? Yeah, all your sounds now. I think I'm gonna set it to increase that volume as it thins out a bit there. So when it's like that, I'm gonna set the, come up here. There we go. So basically evening out that tremolo volume from when it's off to when it's fully on. Call this Negus Leslie. You know, all this gonna be in the Mercury X pack. Don't worry about it. If you get a Mercury X and you get my preset pack, it's gonna have all these different, reverb settings and effect settings and different things like that. Because I'm also gonna do some more just bass effects and using the modulations, just getting those settings perfect for just bass sounds, and setting up some patches like that, envelope filters, and just getting you some really different sounds, not just the reverb sounds. That way, even if you don't have an Enzo X, you still have access to, when you get a Mercury X and you get my preset pack, you'll have a lot of bass stuff set up in there right now. Or when you get one, it's jam-packed, of course, with, all the ambient stuff you could ever want. But in reality, as a bassist, sometimes you need a little bit more simpler things, and you need some slightly, you want to be able to use the different features of the pedal, not just the reverb, because all of the effects in there are spectacular. So it's one of the benefits of getting, spending that $600. You're not just getting a reverb pedal. With other companies, you really are just getting a reverb pedal. And it can cost you about that much. You know what I'm saying? I just seen a reverb pedal that's a reverb pedal that ain't going to do half of the stuff that the Mercury X does. But it is great at what it does, but it's just a reverb pedal. And that joint was like $479 or $480. And I'm like, you might as well go and spend the $6 and get the Mercury X and get everything you need. So, bam. There you have it. And all that's just ready to go at my feet. I don't have to fool around with nothing to try to get to those. Now I have those 8 presets just bam, ready to go. All I got to do is go to page 9 if I'm not already there. So, definitely makes things quite easy. Then I know if I hit it 3 times, bam, I'm back to rocking. Manipulate sounds. And you put this stuff for EP. So I'm going to move this MIDI captain back on the floor real quick. Because, see what time we at. Do got to make some moves in a little bit. Definitely appreciate all y'all hanging with me. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you finding this useful, hit that Cash App, Super Chat, all that good stuff. So, yeah, again. So all I did for a lot of the pads and stuff that I have in Enzo X, I just turned off the ambient section of the pedal. Right? So it's just the oscillators and filters and the ADSRs. And maybe the modulation on there as well, and drive as well. Yeah, only thing I turned off was the ambient section. Ambience. Yo, I love having all this stuff just readily available. And I can go here, page 10. Has all my solo sounds. So I gotta see what I would like to use for a lot of these. because you typically don't want something that, crazy while you soloing, just because it'll get in the way with the faster lines. Ah, looks like I got some more MIDI cables in. Oh, give me a second, guys. Let's see what we got here. And we're back. So, got the good old MIDI cables in here. Got these lower profile ones. These are the ones I already have on here already, but I needed a few more so I can, for example, not have to use that there. Because one of these is going to be attached to the pedal board. Let me see. Let's reach down. Should I let that down? It'll be a stretch, but I don't know if it'll reach the floor necessarily, but I know this will reach back there. So I'll have this incorporated underneath, And pretty much when I'm gigging, I don't really need to take this off the pedal board. So, you know, typically if I take my board, I just sit the board down in front of me and just bow, 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 bow. But these would be great for that. Great for that. I'll just leave this extra one. Just leave that extra one there dangling. Dangle, dangle. We're going to come in through here. Such. Just like this. Bam. We just grab it from underneath here, and we'll run it like this. Let me see, I got a few places I could, you know, hang it up at somewhere. That nice. Do there. In fact, let's do this. Come up. I'm gonna use the wires and stuff that's already here to like hold the cable up. Cause I'm not redoing all my zip ties. I'm just not. See where we gotta get to over there. Let's just run this like that. Run this up and through here. And we got a match. Boom. And we just tuck that little bit of cable up in there somewhere. Matter of fact, we're gonna run it through this area first, and then come back. So over through the zip tie. And bam. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we just needed to take up that little extra bit of MIDI cable there. Make sure we're nice and straight back here. Yep. So now I don't have to do anything. We just take my MIDI captain off. I mean, well, when I'm at home, I can take my MIDI captain off, rather. And if I need to run my MIDI captain, I think what I'll actually do, just to keep it simple at home, for when I gotta set everything back up, I'll just run the MIDI in to the axiom here. MIDI in. So, for instance, like right now, well, not right now, but when I'm ready to, and I want to put this on the floor, I already got a USB ran for it. I got an extra USB cable ran for it that's coming out of here, which I'm gonna see how I'm gonna do that. For real, when I put it down on the floor, I might just, yeah, I'll just power it separately when I pull it off the board. And keep everything nice and sweet. It is nice that I could just go into here and just plug it in though. You know what I'm saying? And just bow. So we'll just take one of these. Take one of these little wall plugs. Bow. And that'll power it when it's on the floor. So that way, when I want to take it off the board, I can either run it off of battery power, or I can just, and I have the MIDI ran through the keyboard already. So, all right, cool. Yeah, these plugs are pretty cool. Got them off of Amazon. They are 4 for like 20. They're 3 feet long, and they have a nice low profile to them that sits like really nice up on the pedals. As you can see, I don't know if you see that, but they're in there. They don't get in the way. And the way they sit with the cables orientation, say this would be how it would sit in the socket, or if it's the other way, like say it's upside down, it'll sit like that. You know, and that's very useful. And the other one is the opposite. So this one would be like this, and this one would be like that, like with the cable orientation. Or you can switch them, and it would look like this. Which is a nice orientation for the pedal when you get it right. You know what I'm saying? So let me see if I have a link for these. I know I'm an Amazon affiliate too, you know what I'm saying? Use my Amazon links, helps out the channel, you feel me? Why not? Giving you the free game. Let's see what we got here. Boop. And this is the bam. There you guys go. There it is to all the other platforms, so you guys will have that. And you know, we got all types of stuff rolling, so glad that's in here, right? Everything. Oh, we're gonna be at NAMM this year too, folks. So, you know, we're gonna be at NAMM checking out all the new gear. Hopefully, while I'm there, I'll have a chance to hook up with some more of these companies. You know, I'm already hooked up with 2 of my favorites, IK Multimedia, which is the ToneX and ToneX One pedals. Check those out. You buy one through the link in the description. Helps out the channel. And the Meris is also a friend of the channel. You know, they are an amazing company. You know, it's only, I think, 4 of them, I believe. Is and they are an amazing team. Like, they are some geniuses, every single one of them at what they do. So no wonder, you know, these pedals have been so, you know, amazing for me. So let's see. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I like that combination. So let's add that. And that's 70. So bam. Yeah, I think I'll run with that. And see, this is why I like to have things set up. You know what I'm saying already, because it's hard enough. You know, it's hard enough once you picking your sounds that you're going with each individual pedal. And that it's not just these pedals; it's any of them. The ToneX pedals, the Hog 2, the Future Impact, the Bass Synth. These Key 9, Mel 9, Ravi Sitar, V256 vocoder. You got to try to imagine what it's going to sound like in a mix or with other things, not just by itself. That's one thing that'll help you keep your settings within reason. So. All right, let's go ahead and say that volume there. All right, and this is number 4. So now I can go from to that much better with it. Let me see. All right, guys, I got to get ready to get out of here. I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me while I'm doing some. So, yeah, we were able to get some great sounds today. Still got a few more to go. But you know how that go. We'll say that for another day. So I definitely appreciate y'all hanging with me. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. I'll be back here later on today, live streaming again. This is only the first part. And I'll be back probably playing some bass later. Actually playing some bass. So make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure you hit that subscribe. And if you want to follow me on all social media at the Bass Negus, if you like to support me, go to the Patreon. You can sign up there. And if you want any presets for the pedals you're seeing here or any of the pedals you've seen me with in the past, the Zoom multi-stomps, MS-70 CDR plus, MS-60B plus, Zoom B6, the Enzo X Future Impact, the ToneX pedals also have 11 different preamp packs available on there. So make sure you check all that stuff out when you get a chance and get you some preset packs. You ain't got to spend all this time I'm spending. I'm doing all the work for you. You feel me? Just go buy the preset pack. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for chilling with me, hanging with me. And don't forget, hit that